Hello, Environmental Science. What we have here is the February the 10th data collection on the mealworm population study. What you see in front of you is off to the left is the control colonies. You can see that they're maintained in buckets with lids now so they don't crawl out. Off to the right is the treatment colonies, same type of buckets, same type of lining, same type of bedding, and they are maintained at the same temperature and with the same type of light conditions. So I'm going to go ahead and step in, and data has been collected for you. So I'm going to go ahead and come to the colony side that is the control colony. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we have here on the boards. So as you look at the images, you're going to see that colony number 1, which was just the way to describe a bucket, colony number 2, a way to describe a separate bucket, are identified with organisms in the petri dishes. So let's look at colony number 1. So colony number 1, as you can see, there is actually a bunch of dead mealworms. Most of them are in the adult stage. We also have a couple of the larval forms that have also died. Because for colony number 1 for this day, Wednesday, February the 10th, when we actually go ahead and record data, we have no living mealworms in that sample, and of course, if there's no living mealworms, there is no mass. Let's go ahead and look at colony number 2 for the control colonies, and what you see is a whole bunch of adults. And if you remember from the data we collected a month ago, we recognized there seemed to be a significant difference in the developmental rates of the organisms being fed oats versus those that in fact were being fed styrofoam. So you can see that most of those adults are in fact dead. However, there were 2 of those adults that we could identify as being living at the time of the count. The total mass of those 2 mealworms is 0.17 grams. What you want to do would be, of course, in the case of this month for the control colony, 1 and 2, but there's nothing to average, but we would normally average both the count and the mass between those 2 colonies. Quick reminder that what in fact the colonies that we call the control colonies are getting is a normal food source. I will in fact be feeding them this afternoon, so they get a scoop per month that goes into each bucket. Let's go ahead and now look at the data we collected on the styrofoam fed colony. So once again, here is colony number 1. What you're going to recognize as you look at that petri dish, that in fact the organisms found there are in fact more immature. What we have is 2 living mealworms for this date, February the 10th. For colony number 1, we specifically have a larva, which is what you and I would think of as like a mealworm, and then we have that resting stage leading to an adult called the pupa. That larva and that pupa together have a mass of 0.22 grams. The colony for number 2 for the treatment, you can see we have quite a random sample of different organisms. Well, it means different mealworms at different stages, what I'm trying to say. You can see there is a combination specifically of a couple of adults and a whole bunch of different larval, they're called instars. What we have for data for you for this is 11 total living organisms on this date. 2 of them are adults. That actually should be 9 larvae, not 10, my apologies. And the total mass of the 11 total is 0.80. So once again, 2 adults, 9 larvae. Remember that the colony that or the colonies, the 2 of them that we call the treatment colonies, are being fed, once again, the same volume of food. It is literally a Curtis High School cafeteria styrofoam plates that have been ground up, and we're providing that for them to eat. What you're going to do in this case is you will truly average data from the 2 colonies, both for the total count as well as for the total mass. That is our data collection for February of 2021 on the mealworm population study.